Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to Pop of Color Live, a music industry late night show for bands and artists where we talk about the business in bright and colorful ways. I'm your host, Clara. We normally premiere Monday nights at 9 p.m., but it is Tuesday tonight due to some scheduling issues that happened yesterday. All good scheduling issues. It's something I'm working on that I'm very excited to announce to you shortly. But I had to make it, so instead of canceling the show altogether, I just moved it over one day because I was just super duper duper determined to talk to you guys. Tonight we are going to be discussing trends in social media for 2019 and how artists can take advantage of them and play to their strengths when it comes to their online presence. But first, as always, let's talk about some relevant news for independent artists around the world. Let's start with Australia. So Australia has debuted new copyright laws and updates. And part of that now means that their internet service providers have the ability to block stream ripping sites. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term stream ripping, it's when you're able to take, say, a YouTube video and turn the audio of that video into an MP3. So while this can be used to take, say, a TED Talk and make it into a podcast version for you to listen to, or mashups, or very, very low-key covers, it's also being used as ways to rip music videos or lyric video music instead of actually paying for the music. So this was a big problem in the mid to late 2000s when you had to buy MP3s. And now that the copyright legislation is finally cracking down on it, the idea is that it's going to contribute to less piracy, but there's also the talk, of course, of net neutrality and of freedom of speech and of censorship that's also going back and forth with the Australian people and with the music community. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to drop them in the comments because this is always very, very interesting. I'm very fascinated to see how this plays out. Okay, next up. For those of you who are familiar with Pledge Music, the music crowdfunding platform, they've been having trouble over the last couple months with actually paying out the money to the artists. So that's been a pretty tense situation and very stressful for the artists, very stressful for the people working at Pledge Music. And today, either today or in the last couple days, of course it depends when you view this, their former CEO who stepped down in 2016, Benji Rogers, has sent out an official letter where he offered to help the artists, help those artists who were affected by tech glitches. Now, Benji Rogers does no longer work for Pledge Music, so he's sending these emails out from his personal account. But because he is a co-founder and former CEO, he feels personally affected by the idea that something he created could have broken trust and could have hurt independent artists who he wants so badly to help. And I thought that was just such a lovely way of putting it. I mean, at the same time in his letter, which I have linked in the description of this video, he doesn't throw current management under the bus. He sympathizes with the artists. He's a very well-respected entrepreneur. He's actually working with Blockchain Media now, I had the chance to interview him, call him from New York City a few months back. So that's also linked in the description of this video. But I just thought it was such a great example of good customer service that I really want to share that. And last little piece of news I want to discuss before we jump into the main course of tonight's show is 4 trends for music videos in 2019. So this is an article on Forbes that I found, and I'm going to quickly go over the 4 trends, but I highly recommend, hello Earl, you all read the article. Once again, link in the description of this video. So trend number 1 is live videos and premieres. The second is that fans will have the opportunities and more chances to be able to directly tip the artist, directly pay the artist, directly use a tip jar to support their favorite artists after watching their music videos. Music videos are going to become shorter or longer. People aren't coming just to hear the song. That's not why they're coming to the music video. They can stream if they want that. They're coming there for an expression of who the artist is, what they stand for. So it's very much going back to an artistic sense, like in the early days of MTV, which I think is very interesting and which I think is wonderful, because it used to be that it used to be that artists would go out on tour for the purpose of promoting the album so that they could sell the album while on tour. Then in the last couple of years, it's been artists put up the album to promote the tour. But the new installment in this saga of the mindset of music consumers and the way the music industry is heading is that now the music video is going to be almost like a product launch, going to be the announcement of the tour and going to encourage fans to buy tickets to see this artist when they come to town. Think of it like Apple, the classic Steve Jobs on stage in his black turtleneck showing like the iPod. That kind of product launch. That is take that corporate idea, but now artists being their music videos, showing to the world who they are, what they're all about, what their journey is, what they stand for, showing it to the world, and by having a good time playing their music, by expressing themselves through their art, the right kind of people think, this band seems like great people, or this artist speaks to my soul, or I would have an amazing time with my friends out at their concert. Then they buy the ticket to go see the artist live. And I think that is very interesting and a very fascinating saga. As you can tell, I'm completely improvising this show. I've got some very, very basic notes, but that was very smart, and I want to remember that. So remind me to write that down, because I would love to expand further on that into an article or make that a status that I can share on Facebook and spread around, because I think that's a very, very hit the nail straight on the head. And the last of the 4 trends for music videos in 2019 is that they're going to become personalized, hyper-localized, and context-oriented. So this means that if I were an artist, I could say shoot a music video in my city and target it to the people of my city with all the local landmarks. When it comes to same thing with context, same thing with personalized, shooting different versions of the music video and aiming it at different people so that it speaks to the right people even stronger than if there was just one general version out there for everyone. Green tea for the win tonight. Right, so now that we have covered the news for the night, I want to talk about the state of social media in 2019. I wrote an article about it that is also linked in the description of this video, but I really, really wanted to do it in video form because we're going to be talking about different mediums, which is a key aspect of this, and also I can reach new people. Now, just like every artist has certain things they're stronger at and weaker at, so do different people with mediums on social media. So, you know, some artists who are extremely good at playing their instrument, and others who their biggest asset is their amazing voice or their lyrical strategy, their lyrics, their songwriting, their compositions. different artists have different strategies when it comes to, and different strengths and different gifts when it comes to their artistic self. Now, the same thing can apply to musicians when they're on social media. Some people are stronger at words when it comes to text. So that would be me, for example. At the end of the day, I'm always going to be text being my strongest. Others are very, very good on video. They're very charismatic. And others are great with their voice, and they're ruling the podcast world. And others are really good with taking photos and finding the right captions for it, and they're dominating Instagram. So what I want to look at when I wrote this article and what I'm presenting to you now is taking a look at a couple social media platforms that I use. I'm only covering the ones I use so that I can speak from experience on them. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And I'll be going, hello Louise, thank you for running straight in front of the camera. Going down by medium to where they're at with those trends, as well as organic reach and paid reach, and my best tips for making the most of these platforms as of their latest state. I really hope this is helpful for you. Feel free to share this with anyone you know who would really, really appreciate it. Let's get right into it. Buckle your rhinestone-studded seatbelts. Let's begin with Facebook. So there's no way to tiptoe around this. Facebook had a rough year in 2018. From leaders of the company testifying before the governments of the world to mounting evidence that a band of organized trolls in the basement of a different country can cause a chain reaction that changes the face of democracy as we know it. Or it became common knowledge that if you're not paying for this platform, you are not the customer, you are the product. However, it's still the largest social media platform in the world, and its marketing features are incomparable to other sites at this point. I've got some cool news stats on Facebook that I wanted to share, but this is the biggest one that I really wanted to bring up. 54% of Facebook users are now 35 years old and up, which is very, very interesting because especially if you play music that is geared towards that audience or the kids of people in that audience, it is very good to know. Don't forget that older demographics have more disposable income, which is a wonderful thing when you're trying to make a living off art. Also, Facebook now leans more heavily females. I believe the latest stats show that 73% of women say they use Facebook regularly, as opposed to 63% of men. So that's also something to know if you're looking for demographics and places to target. So let's go for the medium of text on Facebook. Of the main 3 social media platforms, so this would be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is still the best place for long-form text as long as your audience finds the content valuable enough to engage with. Now, photos catch attention in the newsfeed. If you're scrolling text, photos are the ones that people tend to stop on, that tend to stand out. If you're ever going to post something text-based that you want to get attention on organically and through paid ads, I would highly recommend adding a photo to it. Now, on the context of videos, Facebook Lives, such as this video, still reigns supreme. Facebook loves live videos, especially the long ones, because that gives them more time to propagate them into the feed and show people. Seriously, I can have one person viewing this right now. Hey, you know who you are. But as soon as I go offline when this video ends, Facebook is going to share this everywhere. I might boost it, I might pay some money, I might not, but there's without a doubt that the reach and the amount of people who see it is vastly larger than who just sees it in the moment. On the other hand, pre-recorded videos are a different creature entirely. So over the last couple months, I'm gonna say, I'm not an expert, I don't I'm not going to ever pretend I'm a social media expert, especially not on the Facebook algorithm, because that changes every day. Facebook really has been trying to reward the most engaging and the most valuable content. That's why they've been cracking down on clickbait. That's why they're charging for ads. That's why the ad price has gone up. They really want users to stay on the platform, and for that they need to consistently show valuable stuff to the audience, whatever that audience is that's tailor-made for you. So one of the ways that they are cracking down and making sure that the audience enjoys the content is by seeing how long they watch videos. So if I were to pre-record a very long video, say it's an hour long, and it's very dull and no one's paying attention to it, it's not going to do very well in the newsfeed organically. If I were to condense it to the best bits and put it into a quick video, 3 minutes long, it's likely to do much better because people are likely to stay for the whole thing. So essentially, Facebook is judging your pre-recorded videos value based on how long people watch and what overall amount of the video they watch. So if people watch all the way through, that is amazing. If they watch more than 10 seconds, more than 30 seconds, more than half the video, that is good. So shorter is better unless you are proven to be able to add so much value to your audience that they stay for the whole event. Once again, this is only for pre-recorded videos. Facebook Live such as these are an entirely different beast. When it comes to organic reach, well, it's going the way of the dodo if it hasn't already. But Facebook's goal, remember, is to keep users on the platform as long as possible, and that will never happen if the newsfeed is clogged with annoying, irrelevant ads. That's why the more engaged your audience is with your content, the more likely they'll see not only the next thing you post, and the more likely Facebook is going to propagate your stuff in the newsfeed because you are giving them social proof from engaged fans. So that's everything from likes, shares, to commenting back and forth that show that your stuff is valuable, fans love it, Facebook users love it, and they view it as a valuable part of their time on Facebook. Now, paid ads, Facebook ads are still underpriced. They've gone up recently, but they are still underpriced. And yeah, basically, North America is the most expensive place to advertise. Other areas such as Asia Pacific are vastly underpriced, way, way below market value. Europe, especially Eastern Europe, underpriced, and the rest of the world as well. A positive side effect of Facebook's list of public controversies over the last year has been that big multinational corporations are hesitant to invest in Facebook ads for fear of being negatively associated with the brand. So as long as these big, large multinational corporations stay out of the Facebook ad space, that keeps the price down for us. That's why it started to go up in the last couple months, is because I'm sure you've seen in your newsfeed more and more mainstream brands. So I'm talking like The Gap and brands you can find at the mall have started doing targeted advertising on Facebook, and they have the budget that we don't. We independents don't, and that is why the price has gone up, because it's always going to go to the highest bidder. This is advertising. So, best tips for Facebook. If you schedule your posts in advance, which I highly recommend you do, I do. I'm not always at my computer when my posts go out. I would schedule a photo for first thing in the morning, because when people are bleary-eyed and getting up to start their day, they don't really want to read a long block of text. But if you can put a photo there, they're more likely to stop and notice it, especially a brightly colored one. Mind you, not one that hurts the eyes, just one that's attention grabbing. Have fun with Facebook Lives. This is my weekly show. If you have your own weekly show or your own Facebook Live show or something that you can repeat, go all out, because Facebook Lives are still one of the best parts of Facebook. Look into the analytics of your fans' average watch time on pre-recorded videos. If you go to your business manager, I'm sure there's a way to see it in Insights. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But you can look at what percentage of videos people watch, the average watch time, so that you can tailor your videos to be closer to that, to get the most out of that if you are someone who makes pre-recorded videos for Facebook. And lastly, learn how to run Facebook ads. Invest now, don't procrastinate. Tea time. Okay, next platform, Instagram. Now, Instagram is actually the third favorite place for ads. Now, paid ads on the internet. I found this out shortly before the show, before filming this show and coming on. So Google Ads is first. They've overtaken Facebook, which is very interesting. Facebook is second, and Instagram is third. Instagram has actually taken over social media with the younger millennials and Generation Z. They launched IGTV last year. That kind of flopped, but they reverted back to the chronological newsfeed as opposed to top story is, the top posts, the most popular on newsfeed. So I think that's really helped them. Now, when it comes to mediums on text, while photo captions can be overlooked, they're beginning to have more and more importance in the collective user consciousness. We still can't put links in the captions, which makes things complicated for smaller accounts. Now, photos are, of course, what Instagram is all about. And the most popular accounts on Instagram are ones with distinctive brands. If you are to scroll through your feed, you know whose pictures these are without having to look up to the handle. People know what to expect when they follow these popular accounts. So think of like your favorite clothing stores or brands, like David's Tea, for example. This is, I believe they always shoot with a background that's this shade of teal. And it's always tea pictures, and I know who it is without having to look up and go, oh yes, it's David's Tea. Same with other brands. I see a lot of musicians doing that who are killing it on Instagram, just having a clear and consistent visual brand so that you always know who they are. Like, I'm starting to do that a little bit, integrating it. For example, this pink fifth hand couch, it's like 100 years old, shows up in a lot of my photos just because it's a very big part of my living room. But that's the idea, consistently people being able to go, oh yeah, that's Clara, the Pop Color Girls account. And same thing with the artists, same thing with the brands, same thing with the companies. Now, next onto videos. Here's my theory as to why IGTV did not take off last year, is that people don't like watching long-form videos on tiny screens. See, Instagram, at least from my research, the people I spent time with, the data I found, Instagram is the ad for short attention spans and for when you don't have a lot of time. So when you're flicking through Instagram waiting for your Uber, when your friend is late, when you're switching through apps, when you can't sleep at night, people don't go, if people are gonna settle down and watch a long form video, they're not gonna do it on Instagram, which is a phone-based category. They're probably gonna pull out their desktop computer, their laptop, their tablet, and do it on YouTube. Now, daily Instagram stories, however, are doing extremely well. So these are the ones that last 24 hours in your feed. For example, on my Instagram, link in description, I have a daily 30-second video series with the idea of when fans find it, they know that there'll be a new one every day, so they should follow me to keep up with those and to get them constantly in the top bar of the Instagram stories. The technique has worked, which is done wonders for my Instagram following, actually, come to think of it. Now, organic reach on Instagram, as mentioned previously, Instagram reverted back to the chronological feed last year from the Facebook inspired one that showed most popular images at the top. This means that smaller accounts now have a better chance of getting their images seen by fans, and they also have to post more frequently. Now, Facebook ads are now the third best way to advertise online according to media buyers. However, most younger Instagram users have developed this subconscious skill to be able to identify ads in their newsfeed without even realizing. They already flick past it. They're like, friend, someone I follow, meme account, oh, this is an ad. They don't even notice they do it. They're just able, because the quality is so high and different than the other things on their feed, which is a very, very interesting skill they've developed. Best tips for Instagram. Take a little bit more time to write valuable photo captions. Start up some daily Instagram stories. Maybe playing music, songwriting, talking to your audience, asking them questions. People can reply to stories, don't forget. Post more content more frequently. If you're going to advertise on Instagram, aim for millennials and up. Now, Twitter saw a noticeable rise of brands using Twitter for banter. So Wendy's, Moon Pie, I'm sure you can think of some, as opposed to merely a sales megaphone or a PR tool. Its user base is still growing by 9% annually, and advertising costs on Twitter have recently gone down. Now, Twitter, text-wise, is the playground for wordsmiths. If you're in a band, get your songwriter on Twitter. They're going to be the best one. When it comes to photo layout, Twitter photos are rectangular as opposed to okay, let me try to say that again. Twitter photos are not shrunken, but they're cropped to be horizontal as opposed to vertical. So make sure that you don't chop off your head when doing a photo of yourself that is a vertical one. Now, videos, as opposed to other social media platforms, Twitter does not care about third-party links. I would keep videos short. There will only quick clips due to the waterfall nature of the newsfeed. Don't forget, Twitter doesn't prioritize based on popularity. They show everything in real time. So if you are someone who follows a lot of people, it's impossible to keep up. Now, organic reach, a couple of years ago on Twitter, the lifespan of the common tweet was 45 seconds. Overpopulation of this ecosystem has only caused a shortening of it. So in all seriousness, you have a short time to be retweeted, favorited, or replied to, so it's best to be funny, relevant, or engaging. I still view paid ads on Twitter as being overpriced for the short time it's down the feeds. Brands that have really succeeded, so I'm talking like corporate, big brands like fast food chains, have been ones who are able to integrate themselves into relevant conversations, into pop culture, into the context, and just being on the pulse of what is trending. So best tips for Twitter quickly. Put your songwriters in charge. Know what your photo will look like once cropped before you tweet it out, so you don't get a bandmate chopped off. Research what else your fans are into. So are a lot of them really big fans of a certain sports team or a type of food or another brand or other artists? See if you can get relevant on that. Say if they're all going to be watching the Super Bowl football game this weekend, I believe, or the next one, I'm actually not sure, start tweeting about that. Now, quickly going into YouTube. Now, I am not a YouTuber. I basically only use YouTube creator-wise to put the archives of this show on. But I do use YouTube from a consumer standpoint. And one of the most interesting stats I found on YouTube is that it is now the default daily social media platform for the majority of people. So it beat out Facebook. So I'm sure you can remember a time where you didn't know what before you know it, you're just aimlessly on Facebook scrolling the news feed as a default. You didn't know because you because you weren't paying attention, you were procrastinating, you're getting off topic, you're getting distracted. So you're just scrolling down the newsfeed on Facebook. Now, YouTube has taken that slot to be the default thing people scroll down, the suggestions, the subscriptions, the trending, and creating watch later playlists. And I think that is a very, very fascinating direction that the internet is heading. Now, text and photos are really not available when it comes to YouTube. So let's just talk quickly about videos. Their trending charts update at least daily, and if a content creator lands on one of those, it's akin to striking gold, especially if you're not someone who gets regularly put on the top of the trending list. YouTube, therefore, favors more video creation more frequently. Now, that's fine for professional content creators who have a machine for that. That's why national news and late night talk shows have really, really made it to the top of the trending and have really gained prominence on YouTube in the last couple of years, as well as laid back channels who don't require much setup, so daily lifestyle vloggers. However, many channels that need to take time to do research, write scripts, film, edit, use animations or effects or illustrations or long-form videos have felt the pressure, which has led to a lot of creator burnout over the last couple months, especially in 2018. So organic reach, remember that YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So if your original songs aren't getting many views on YouTube, that's because people aren't looking for them yet. That's why cover songs always strike a killing on the YouTube platform, unless they get flagged for copyright, that is. On the other hand, Facebook is a really good place for original stuff. YouTube best tips, keep up with YouTube news over 2019. My show certainly will, especially Article 13 and net neutrality and censorship and monetization. I really want to keep up with that because that is going to be something that matters to us. Don't worry about fancy setups. At this point, quality while still good matters more. Quantity while still good quality matters more than expensive quantity. Quality, okay. Quantity over quality, just keep it good, keep it something you're proud of. And really quickly, let me just finish up tonight's episode by quickly talking about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has really come into its own over the last few months. Well, it's no longer simply a place to post your resumes for office jobs. You would likely only be connecting with other industry people here. So artists, managers, agents, journalists, labels, as opposed to fans. And your message should be tailored accordingly. Now, when it comes to text, remember that you are talking to other people in the music industry. So this is not the place to sell your merch, but rather to get involved in relevant discussions, share your successes, join relevant groups, and congratulate others. Now, photos are good as long as they're professional. So you winning an award, yes. You drunken bar, no. Videos, this is a great place to share good quality pre-recorded videos. Thank playlist creators for featuring you, or share your filmed interviews. Hello, Earl. Nice of you to come on my show. So everyone, this is Earl, if you haven't met him. He's a very handsome boy, and he wants attention. LinkedIn's organic reach is doing very, very well. It's been compared to similar to Facebook's before ads dominated their ecosystem. Posts stick around your connections newsfeed many days after you first post them. And paid ads, I don't see them as a good fit for artists right now because you're not really reaching out to music fans. But if you run a music-related company, I would definitely go hard on on LinkedIn, sorry. Yeah, LinkedIn best tips, get involved in conversation, keep your photos and statuses professional, update your resume. You can have a creative resume with places you've played, awards you've won, and your skills in music. So I hope that guide was very helpful to you. I am very grateful that you tuned in tonight, or you are watching this at any point you have time. I'm Clara. I have a cat named Earl right here. Louise is somewhere. And I'm so, so grateful for all of you. Stay colorful, stay warm. It's -30 outside, so that's Celsius, -22 Fahrenheit for my American friends. Yes, this is just a one-time. Normally the show is on Mondays, so please, please, please tune in next Monday. I am so happy you all are here. Be good to each other, stay colorful, stay warm. I'll talk to you next week.